Hey everybody, today we are going to talk about nets. Nets of 3D shapes are basically taking a shape and unfolding it. So let's take a look at this page first. Draw a line between the red 3D shape on the left and the blue net on the right. Match them up. Pause the video. Okay, so let's take a look at these. I think that 1 goes with B because I think every single face on shape number 1 is a square, and B also has all the squares. Number 2 looks like it goes with D to me because I don't see any triangles on number 2, but I do see different types of squares and rectangles. So that looks like it goes with D to me. And then 3 and 4, they both have triangles. But I'm noticing that 4 only has 1 square or rectangle on the bottom of it, and that goes with A. 3 has 2 triangles, and then the rest of the sides are rectangles. Now I wonder if you would be able to pause the video and name the shapes. Name the different red shapes. I'm going to make you guys a little word bank, and I want you to see if you guys can figure out which of these words goes with which of the red shapes. So one of these shapes is a triangular prism. I also see a rectangular prism. I see a cube, and I see a square pyramid. Pause the video and see if you guys can figure out which one is which. Okay, hopefully you've had some time to think about that. The triangular prism is number 3. This guy right here. This is the triangular prism. Remember, a prism has 2 bases. Those are the 2 triangles. That's why it's called a triangular prism. And then because it's a prism, the rest of the sides are rectangles. The rectangular prism goes with number 2. In a rectangular prism, you get to pick which sides you want to be the bases because all the other sides are rectangles anyway. So I'm going to say that these 2 sides are the bases. And then the rest of them are rectangles. And you can see that in the net too. So if you look at 3 and C, here are the triangles. All the other sides are rectangles. In D, you could say that maybe these 2 sides were the bases, and then all the other sides are still rectangles. The cube is number 1. That's like a special type of rectangular prisms. Cubes are rectangular prisms. It's just a special case where all the sides are squares. So maybe if I'm saying that these 2 are the bases, perhaps these would be these 2 in the net. But all the sides are the same, so it doesn't really matter. And then that leaves square pyramid for this last one. The base of it is a square. So that's this, like the floor of it in this particular picture. And then pyramids have triangles for the rest of the sides instead of rectangles for the rest of the sides. Okay. We're going to do the same thing 2 more times. Start with problem 2, match them up, and then we'll talk about the shapes. All right, so number 1, I'm actually going to come back to that one because that's kind of a funky shape, and that wouldn't be the first one I would solve. My eye kind of goes to number 2. I see these 2 circles, and I see that D also has 2 circles. So I like that. I think that those 2 are a match. Number 3, it looks to me like it's made up of all triangles. So I think 3 and C are going to go together. And then for 4, I see that there's a trapezoid in the front and the back, and then the rest are rectangles. So I think that goes with A, which leaves us with 1 and B matching up. Now we're going to do the same thing, and I'm going to make you guys a word bank, and you're going to try to figure out which shape is which. Okay, so the shapes that I see here would be a cylinder. I see a trapezoidal prism. I see a triangular pyramid. And I see a cone. Pause the video, see if you can match those up. Okay, so the cone is this one. It looks just like an ice cream cone. That's what a cone is. The cylinder is this one. The trapezoidal prism is this one. And the triangular pyramid is this one. Now I'm going to look at each of those more specifically. So a cone, like an ice cream cone, it looks like it has one circle base, and that's this little shape on the net. And then the rest of the cone, like the sides of the cone, fold out into this weird shape. It almost looks like the infield of a baseball diamond. That's what the rest of the cone would fold out into if you were to lay that cone flat. The cylinder has two bases, a circle on the top and the bottom. So that in shape D, there's a circle on the top and the bottom. And then it's kind of weird that the sides of the cylinder, when you unfold it, it actually makes a rectangle. It's kind of weird to picture that, but imagine like a paper towel tube. If you were to cut a paper towel tube open and flatten it, it would actually make a rectangle. And you can try that if you want to. Number 3, the triangular pyramid. The base of it, any of the sides could be a base because they're all triangles, but I'm just going to color in the bottom of it. The base of it is a triangle. That's why the word starts with triangular pyramid. And then because the remaining sides are all triangles as well, that's why it's a pyramid instead of a prism. Number 4, the trapezoidal prism. Now this one's not going to come up for us a lot. We're not going to be really dealing with trapezoids. But there's a trapezoid on the front and the back. Those are the two bases. Remember, the bases have to be across from each other in the 3D shape. And then all the other sides have to be rectangles. And if you look at shape A, you do see that the rest of the sides are rectangles. Okay, I think we're going to do this one more time on this page. Match them up. Now this time they all are similar, so you really have to pay attention to the shape of the triangles to see which ones are which. All right, hopefully you've gotten a chance to pause the video and try these. I am kind of drawn to this shaped triangle first. I see that this guy has triangles that look like this. And the only other option that has triangles that look like this would be these two on B. They're right triangles. So I think that 1 and B go together. Now 2 and 3 are very similar, but I see that 2 is probably equilateral. It's like a shorter triangle. And 3 has a taller triangle, probably an isosceles triangle. So 2 I think is going to go with C because that has shorter triangles on the end, and 3 and A have the longer triangles. Now all of these shapes are the same, and I want you to tell me which one it is. Are all of these shapes triangular prisms, or are all of these shapes triangular pyramids? Think about that for a second. If you need more time, you can pause the video because I'm about to say the answer. These are all triangular prisms. The reason for that is if you look at all the sides that are not the bases, they're all made of rectangles. Rectangles go with prisms, not pyramids. All right, one last page to do. So on problem 19 here, they're telling us that these are the nets of some prisms. So they've already flattened them for us. And they want us to identify the bases. Basically, what they're asking us to do is like the way I colored in these, where I colored in all of the bases purple, that's what they want us to do. So pause the video, try number 19, see if you can identify which are the bases. All right, hopefully you've gotten a chance to try that. If you remember, a prism, which it says that these are prisms, have two bases that are the same, and then every other side is a rectangle. So if there's sides that aren't rectangles, that has to be the answer. So for 19, I can say these two triangles would be the bases of the prism, because everything else is a rectangle. Those would be the sides. For the second one, these pentagons will be the prism. And then for the third one, I think these are octagons, will be the bases of the prism. So I've left all the sides that are the rectangles or squares, because those make up the sides of the prisms. Now, do you think you can name these? All of these are going to be a word followed by the word prism. And that word has to do with whatever shape the bases are. See if you could pause the video and name each of these three shapes. Okay, so hopefully you've done that already. 19 would be triangular prism, because the sides that aren't rectangles are triangles in the first one. The second one would be pentagonal prism, because the sides that aren't rectangles are pentagons. And the third one would be octagonal prism. The sides that aren't rectangles are octagons. So that's how you come up with the name. All right, and this looks familiar. We've done matching activities like this earlier in the assignment. Try it one more time for number 20. Pause the video. All right, so I'm going to go over the answers. And maybe just so I could talk about it easier, I'm going to label them A, B, C, D, E, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just so I could say them out loud to you guys better. Now, I would probably start with something like B, because I see that B has a pentagon, and that's a more rare shape. So let me look. I see 5 has a pentagon. So I think that those are going to go together. And then on E, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Octagon. What else has an octagon? Looks like number 2 does. So I think those two go together. And let's see what's left. It looks like D has kind of a funky base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides on its base. That's a hexagon. So I think it's going to go with number 1. And then I'm left with A and C. It looks like A has a square base. So I think that's going to go with 3. And C is all triangles, so that's going to go with 4. The last thing we're going to do is name all of these. I'm going to give you a word bank, and you're going to match them up. So I'm going to write down your word bank for you. I see a triangular pyramid in this list. I see a pentagonal prism in the list. I see a hexagonal pyramid. What else do I see? I see an octagonal prism. And I see a square pyramid. Pause the video, see if you can match those up. Okay, hopefully you're ready to go over these. The triangular pyramid is going to be shape C. The pentagonal prism is going to be B. The hexagonal pyramid is going to be D. The octagonal prism is going to be E. And then the square pyramid is going to be A. And I'll talk about why each of those are. So in order for something to be a pyramid, it has to have one base, And then the rest of the sides are triangles. The base of this one is a square, so that's why it starts with the word square. And then all the other sides are triangles. That's why it's a pyramid instead of a prism. For B, it's a prism because it has two bases. And the reason that it starts with the word pentagonal prism is because the bases are pentagons. The rest of the sides are rectangles, and that's what makes it a prism. In a triangular pyramid, it'll have a triangle base, and that's where the word triangular comes from. And then all the other sides are triangles, which makes it a pyramid instead of a prism. In a hexagonal pyramid, the base of it is a hexagon, and then all the other sides are triangles. There's only one hexagon, everything else is a triangle. And then in the octagonal prism, the base is an octagon. We can't see the other one, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that there's a second octagon in